righty, everybody. Hi there. Carson Meredith with you on this Sunday night. Just a little after 7:30. It's October 12th. You can see that beautiful sunset behind me. What another glorious day it was. Did you get outside? I hope you were able to. Hopefully you're not like me and the ragweed is getting to you. So forgive me if I have to clear my throat a couple of times tonight. But we've got, quite honestly, not a ton to talk about. It's pretty quiet this week, as you guys know. So I don't want to keep you here all night. But we will focus on next weekend's setup just a little bit. And we'll kind of tie up some loose ends. We'll talk briefly about the fall foliage, because I know you guys are looking forward to all the color that we're seeing and about to see. And we'll also do a quick tropical check. But again, all in all, it's pretty quiet. Let's get you outside. That view, the background behind me is what you now see on the SkyTrack camera from downtown looking west. Glorious. Absolutely beautiful. We had a few clouds earlier this afternoon, but not quite as many as yesterday. And look, yesterday was plenty sunny too, but today was even better. We got back up to 74, I think, is the high temperature today, at least last time I checked. It's a couple degrees above average for this time of year, but it still felt phenomenal, and it feels great tonight. Last check at Ali International, it's 70 degrees, although pretty much everybody else has dipped into the 60s already. You all know the drill with the heat island. It is what it is. How about our friends in Shelbyville? You're at 64 tonight. We're at 64 in LaGrange, 63 in Madison, 63 in Jeff. Shonda, are you here tonight? There you are. Hello, Shonda. This sky is so pretty right now. Yes, it is. It's awesome. E-Town down to 61. So yeah, a nice, comfortable Sunday evening underway. Nice evening to just maybe set up a bonfire. Don't have to worry too much about a drought right now with all the rain we had last week. As long as it's controlled, you'll be okay. But feeling pretty good. Light jacket weather if you are going to be heading out for the rest of this evening. Big picture view, not a major change from what I showed you last night. High pressure still in control all the way down to Texas, through our area, way up into the Great Lakes. It's kind of a combination of a surface high pressure as well as an upper level ridge that's keeping things, keeping things nice and comfortable for a good portion of the country. To the east of us, southeast of us, you still see that nor'easter causing all kinds of flooding problems in the Carolinas, Myrtle Beach specifically. That's going to keep on riding up the East Coast over the next 24 to 36 hours. And you see some showers out in western Texas and in New Mexico along a cold front. But we're kind of in the middle, staying away from all the mess on the east and west sides of us. And I'm not going to complain about that. 52, our forecast low tonight. Clear, comfortable, cool once again. But it'll feel pretty good. Very similar to what we've had the last couple of nights. I'd say it'd be enough to grab a light jacket heading out the door Monday morning early. But it'll be like we've had the last few days where you can get rid of the jacket in the afternoon because we'll warm up so quick. And then you can grab that jacket again for dinner tomorrow night because we'll cool down quick. So yeah, pretty quiet tonight. Quiet for the start of the work week as well. The big weather story for Monday and Tuesday is going to be that slight warm up. It's not a ton, but you'll probably notice it's a smidge warmer the next 2 days. We're at 77 tomorrow. And again, obviously this is focused mainly for Louisville. Most of you, though, will still be in the mid-70s again. Tuesday looks to be the warmest day for the work week with a high of 78. Now, we get into Tuesday night and especially Wednesday. There is actually going to be a backdoor cold front moving through, kind of moving in sort of the opposite direction. It's kind of hard to nail down exactly where this front is going to go and how it's going to move in. It's going to be a dry front. The only thing you might notice with it on Wednesday is a little more cloud cover, like a tiny bit, but that's about it. But it is going to be enough to knock down our temperatures again. So we'll go back down to 75 on Wednesday. And I think for Thursday, we'll be even cooler than that, low 70s. So Tuesday looks like the warmest day of the week. Thursday looks like the coolest. but both of those days will still be in the 70s, it looks like. So just some gentle ups and downs for the week ahead. Now, you've got this combination, a good combination for sunshine, warm afternoons, relatively speaking, and cool mornings. That's a really nice triple threat for fall colors. And they're really starting to pop. And you see the fall foliage map popping up here, showing most of the region still just seeing those hints of color. This gets updated, I want to say every Thursday from explorefall.com. Last update came in on Thursday. And it shows basically all of Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Illinois seeing those hints of color. You got to go all the way up to eastern Ohio to really see more of those vibrant colors, right? But this nice quiet pattern we have with a lot of sun, warmer afternoons, and cooler evenings, that's really going to allow, hopefully, these colors to start to pop here at home in the next week or so. So if you've liked these little hints of color we've had, you'll like what we have coming for the week ahead. And then, of course, we'll have to keep our fingers crossed that next weekend with our weather maker, with our rain chances, that all those leaves don't get peeled off the trees by the rain or the wind. But at least for the next few days, lots of color to enjoy. Let's go to the comments. Who's watching us tonight? Jacob's here. Give me the good news. Just got back from Florida. Yeah, I hope we're off to a good start with the good news with this nice setup for the week. Nancy, predictions on the first snow yet? Not yet. I haven't made mine yet. Our winter forecast will come out on Halloween, as it always does, somewhere, be it Halloween morning or night. We got to figure that out, but it'll be out on Halloween. And you'll hear our predictions by then when we'll see our first 1-inch snow. When we think we might see it. Shonda's here. CK's here. Saying hello to all the YouTube crew. Kelly's watching. Cody's watching. Crispy's here. Tina's here. Weather Geek, hello. Let's see. Gary's present up in Pewee Valley. Paul says, hey. Let's see here. Love this weather. Keep it coming if you can. Yeah, it's not going anywhere for the next 5 days at least, which is great. Let's see. Noodlehead's here. Hello. Angela, hello. The sky was opalite today. There you go. Cody, I'm supposed to be camping next weekend. What's it looking like? Thanks for the segue, Cody, because let's talk about next weekend. Quite honestly, guys, there's not a ton of change from what I talked to you about 24 hours ago. There was that question of the speed of this system, not only with it moving in, but how long it sticks around. And those questions still haven't been answered. The Euro and the GFS in particular have really dug in to their own individual ideas that we talked about last night, where the GFS has Saturday being more of a messy day, while the European has Sunday being more of the wet and potentially stormy day. What we're going to focus on here is the European model. I promise you it's an updated version of the European. It just looks incredibly similar to what I showed you last night. Saturday morning, if the European is correct, would be mostly dry. And there would be more dry time on Saturday, just in general. But Saturday afternoon and evening, as this front to our west starts to get closer to us, we're going to get a big return flow coming in from the Gulf. More moisture, high temperatures, maybe knocking on the door of 80 by Saturday, depending on the cloud cover. And that's going to set the stage for at least a few showers to start popping up on Saturday during the afternoon. Again, this is assuming that the timing on the European model is accurate. But there's a 18-hour difference right now between the GFS and the Euro. The Euro is 18 hours slower, which isn't unheard of. That's actually pretty common, but I'd still like to have a little more agreement when it comes to that timing at this stage of the game. But nonetheless, you see that rain coverage really ramps up heading into Sunday. The front's still out to our west, it looks like, on Sunday. Maybe a few storms still. I think we'll likely have a few storms, as a matter of fact. I'm not overly concerned about severe weather right now. It's going to be breezy. There will be some wind energy. The question is, do we have any instability? Do we have any fuel? Hard to tell this far out, 7 days away. So still a wait and see game when it comes to severe weather. Right now, I do not see a major threat, but obviously we'll keep watching it. We keep on going Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. That front's moving through. And I will say the European model with the front has sped it up to where it gets out of here relatively fast into Monday, which would kind of cut off our rain chances into next Monday. So it really looks like, in my view, at this point, that Sunday of next weekend is the not so great weather day. But on the flip side, like I've said, the GFS says Saturday is the not so great day. And again, that's not surprising because the GFS always tends to run a little faster in this time frame, in that 5 to 10 day time frame. The GFS is always a little too quick. So we'll see if we can get better agreement in the days to come on the exact timing of this system. But right now, my gut feeling is this time next weekend. So next Sunday, we'll be tracking some showers and maybe a few storms in wave country. So that's where we are at this point. So Cody, circling back to your question, what is next weekend looking like? I do think Friday is dry. And Friday night too. Saturday, mostly dry for now. Sunday, the wettest day at this point, but that could flip-flop. If it turns out that the GFS timing is correct, then Saturday will be wetter and Sunday will be drier. It's one of those 2 days that'll be messy. The question is which one. Right now, our forecast is showing Sunday to be the wetter day. Hope that makes sense. Let's see. Shonda, we were out at the Henryville Forestry today, and the leaves aren't really changing yet. Yeah, it's a little slow, just a little bit. That's why you saw on the foliage map, there's just kind of hints of color. And it's usually not until late October before we see the peak. So I'm hoping that this week can kind of accelerate that color change. We'll just have to wait and see. If not, then we'll just have to hope that the rain coming in next weekend doesn't knock all the leaves off the trees. So there's that. Teresa says hello. Kelly, good question. Could there be a high shear, low cape setup? Sure, absolutely. Especially in fall and in winter, you guys know the second severe weather season, quote unquote, usually are high shear, low cape setups where you have a lot of wind energy, but not a ton of fuel. The thing is, while we've got decent wind energy, while we've got decent shear, it doesn't, at least for now, it doesn't rise to the level of being a severe setup with that shear. That can still change. So I don't want to make it sound like we are just totally all clear from any severe threat Sunday or Saturday, whichever day it winds up being. It's just that for now, there's not enough shear to get me concerned about this. There's not much storm fuel either. So hopefully that answers your question there, Kelly. Let's see. Cody says, thanks. Taking the camper instead of just the tent. That's definitely a good idea. Definitely a good idea. I'd rather be in the camper than the tent on a potentially wet camping trip. Now, once that front moves through next week, it's going to get chilly, guys. And this looks like the cooler temperatures could actually stick around for a decent bit of next week, not this week, the following week. Next Monday in particular, I've got a high of 68. Ooh, a little chilly. And it looks as though that week of October, that would be the week of October 20th, will likely feature those high temperatures in the upper 60s to near 70 on any given day. That's still pretty close to average for that time of year, but it will be a little bit of a shock that we'll have these upper 60s sticking around for more than 1 day or 2 days like we've had recently. So once this cooler air sets in next week, it looks like it's going to hang around. Is it overly cold? No. Is it frosty cold? No. But it'll be a little chilly. It'll be a little shock to the system, kind of that initial shock of, ooh, cool season's here, right? So next week does look to be a bit cooler thanks to that cold front that will move through next weekend. So that's where we stand at home, guys. Again, I don't want to keep you here all night. There's not a ton to talk about, but I will mention the tropics because a lot of you were asking or wondering where did all the talk about Jerry go? Well, here's Jerry, what's left of him, way up here in the top left corner of the map. Jerry just could never get his act together. There was concern that it might make a run for Bermuda as a Category 1 hurricane at one point. Then on Friday, the Hurricane Center removed the Category 1 hurricane forecast and said it was just going to be a tropical storm. And then yesterday, they just said, hey, what's left of Jerry is just kind of turned into a little trough out in the Atlantic, and it's no longer tropical. So Jerry is completely off the board. This system, however, this wave, further to the south and east, is starting to get its act together. Now, when I set up this graphic, of course, the formation chance numbers were 40 and 50%. But obviously, you see that orange blob has now become a red blob, so the odds have gone up for this storm to become a tropical system. And it's now at a 60% chance for the next 48 hours and a 70% chance over the next week. So this is likely going to be our next tropical system that we'll have to keep an eye on. Lorenzo is the next name on the list. It is no threat to the U.S. So just thought I'd mention it just to kind of still give you that reminder that we're in mid-October. Tropics can still be very, very active. And while there hasn't been much of a problem in the U.S. so far, we're not out of the woods just yet. But nonetheless, we'll watch it as we go through the rest of the month and even into November. All right, there's the 10-day. Again, just kind of gently going up and down in the 70s this week, starting off higher in the upper 70s Monday and Tuesday, dipping into that low mid-70s range Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We may be able to get to 80 on Saturday if we don't have a ton of cloud cover and we don't have any rain. But once that front moves in, which again, for now, we're leaning towards Sunday being the wetter day. That Sunday time frame would obviously be a little messy. And then the following week is quite a bit cooler in the 60s. So that's where we are at this point, guys. Any last minute comments, thoughts, questions, concerns, critiques, send them my way. And we'll call it a night. It's part of the reason I love October is because you always get a fairly quiet stretch. And we need it. We've had a pretty quiet stretch of weather the last couple of months, aside from the flooding we had back on Tuesday. Speaking for everybody on the weather team, I think we're all very thankful for that because the early part of the year was crazy, as you guys know. But we've settled back into a more typical rhythm, that is for sure. Braden's here. Do you think the 80s are done for the year for the most part? Well, I still think there's going to be days, Braden, where we get into like that 80, 81, 82 range, like just 1 or 2 days at a time, like Saturday. If we if we don't have as many clouds on Saturday and we're dry, I definitely think Louisville could get to 80 for sure. But it would just likely be these 1 or 2 day spurts where we get in the low 80s for a brief moment and then we're back to 60s or 70s. So if you're talking about, Braden, these long stretches of mid 80s, I do think those are done for the year. But I don't think we're totally done with just the 80s period yet. I still think we have a few more of those to come, at least a couple. Michael's here. How you doing? I haven't seen you on here in a while. Good to hear from you. Any windy days coming up? Saturday will be windy. Friday will be a little breezy as that front's moving in. Saturday will be especially breezy. And then Sunday could have a little wind with it as well. Again, there's some wind energy with this system ahead of it, in advance of it. It's just not enough right now to really raise the alarms about severe weather. I just don't see it right now, but that could still change. So it'll definitely get a little breezy, Michael, as we get towards Friday and especially Saturday, as that front starts to move in. Last call, going once, going twice. Let me know real quick. I don't want to keep y'all here all night because all in all, it's pretty quiet. So get outside and enjoy it. I know everybody's heading back to work, but if you can find some time to get some fresh air this week, do it because it's shaping up to be a very, very beautiful week ahead. You guys know the drill. It's Sunday night. We got football on Wave. Good game tonight. Lions-Chiefs in Kansas City. And once that game is done, if you're still up late with us, God bless you for one thing, because those newscasts are late on Sunday nights. We'll be back on around 11:30, 11:45 tonight. Another check of the forecast. If you're going to head to bed, totally understand it. Brian will be here with the Good Weather blog tomorrow morning, and he'll be here all week, I believe, with those updates for you as we get closer to that weekend front. All right, guys, that's it. Appreciate you watching. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the fall temps. I'll see you next weekend. Bye.